Bulavanaka and welcome to Fiji Village Play. I'm your host, Alipate Narawa. This week, we'll be taking a look at a couple of things. We've got the Hong Kong Sevens coming up this weekend. We've also got swimming, 14-year-old swimming sensation, Grace Callan. We'll also be taking a look at the last home game of the Extra Bulla FC. And news just broke earlier this week, of Swire Shipping Fijian Drua head coach Glenn Jackson not renewing his contract for the next season. All that's coming up after this, but taking a look at the Fiji Airways men's national sevens side. They'll be looking to make a statement this weekend at the Hong Kong Sevens. This will be the 50th edition of the Hong Kong Sevens, where Fiji has won the most number of tournaments at 19. The Fiji men's sevens side will begin their Hong Kong Sevens campaign against Germany. So this Friday, Saturday and Sunday, remember to set your clocks by these games. Fiji's first game is at 5:11 p.m. on Friday. That is against Germany. Then they will take on Great Britain at 8:21 p.m. This is still Friday. And on Saturday, they will take on France at 4:13 p.m. That's in the afternoon in their final pool match. The men's cup quarterfinals will start at 10:03 p.m. on Saturday. The semi-final is at 6 p.m. on Sunday, with the final at 11:14 p.m. on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Fijiana Sevens side will be taking on Japan at 8:44 a.m. on Friday. They then take on Brazil at 12:01 a.m. Saturday, before meeting New Zealand at 5:01 p.m. Saturday in their final pool match. The women's cup quarterfinals start at 9:13 p.m. Saturday. The cup semis are at 5:14 p.m. Sunday, and the final is scheduled for 10:35 p.m. Sunday. Earlier this week, we caught up with Fijiana Sevens coach Richard Walker in Hong Kong, and when I asked him about a chance of the Fijiana there's chances that teams might get eliminated from the 7 Series 1 into 7 Series 2. He said, yes, the possibility is there, but they do not talk about this with their girls. When I asked him what they will do in order to nullify the quick New Zealand forwards and their backline, this is what Coach Walker had to say.
We're going to talk about that in game day warm-ups before we're going on the field. Because as you know, Fijians, they just get anxious and they want the ball. And sometimes when we're too anxious, we go on the side a little bit or we go a little bit too high. So discipline. And we're also, on the execution side, is a lot more go forward from us. We know the quickest way to the try line is forward. And if we can get our big runners going forward and offloading to our players that can finish, then we're going to have some good execution as well.
That was Fijiana Sevens coach Richard Walker speaking to Fiji Village Play from Hong Kong as they prepare for the Hong Kong Sevens this weekend. Remember, the games are happening Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Coming up after this, we'll be taking a look at a 14-year-old swim sensation, Grace Callan. Bulavanaka and welcome back to Fiji Village Play. I'm your host, Alipate Narawa. And as I said earlier, this segment will be looking at something, a 14-year-old swimming sensation. All right. I'm talking about Grace Callan. Now, she won 3 golds at the New Zealand Age Group Swimming Championship over the weekend. And this girl, I tell you, is remarkable. Now, this is just a second international outing. In her last outing, also in New Zealand, she won 3 golds in that one. And in this one, she's also won 3 golds as well. She won the 50 meters women's butterfly final in the 14 years age category with a time of 28 seconds. And Fiji's aquatic performance coach Sharon Smith says that Callan smashed her previous record of 29.37 seconds. And this was after a personal best of 28.77 seconds in the heats. Now, Callan earlier won the 100 meters, and she also won the 50 meter freestyle finals. Now, think about this. She had missed out on the Palau 2025 Pacific Mini Games last year because she was too young. Now that she has turned 14, she's able to attend and go to more international meets and competitions because they don't allow anyone under 14. But good news for Fiji. And also one thing that I think that should be introduced into the school curriculum is swimming, because not only can it save your life, it's also a life skill. But yeah, that is definitely something that we need to give props to Grace, winning 3 gold medals in New Zealand at the New Zealand Age Championships, swimming championships. Now, another thing that a lot of gang might be talking about, if you love soccer, if you like football, the Extrembula FC team. Now they're playing, this is round 5 of the OFC Pro League, and all the matches are being played in Fiji. So we've got 4 teams playing here at the HFC Bank Stadium, while the Mbula FC side are playing all their home games at the 4R Stadium at Govin Park in Ba. So their last home game is coming up, where they will be taking on Auckland FC. That's at 7 p.m. Saturday. So if you live in around the Ba area, if you live in around Lautoka, Singotoka, Tavo even, remember, you can always go and support our home team as they take on Auckland FC at 7 p.m. this Saturday. Remember, this is for the OFC Pro League, and go and cheer on our home team. They won their first game 1-0 against PNG Hikari, and they're looking to repeat that performance this Saturday. Coming up after this, we'll be talking about Super Rugby and the Swai Shipping Fijian Drua, and also Glenn Jackson. What's happening? Bulabunak, and welcome back to Fiji Village Play. I'm your host, Alipate Narawa. And as I was saying earlier, we had some stuff about the Swai Shipping Fijian Drua. Well, they have just confirmed that head coach Glenn Jackson will depart the club at the end of the 2026 Shop and Save Super Rugby Pacific season. The Fijian Drua says this follows a mutual decision not to exercise the third-year option in his contract. Jackson has been with Ndrua since 2022, where he spent 3 years as assistant coach, and 2 years, he started last season as the head coach of the Ndrua. The Fijian Drua CEO Jeff Miller says Jackson has been part of the Ndrua journey since day one, and they thank him for his enormous contribution for the past 5 years. Jackson says he is thankful to the players, the staff, and mainly to the fans who are always out there and ready to support their team. But coming up this weekend, the Ndrua will be taking on the ACT Brumbies. Now, this will be a grudge match for the Brumbies after they were thumped 42-26 by the Ndrua at 4R Stadium at Govin Park in Ba earlier this season. The Brumbies will be looking for revenge, and they'll be out for blood. After the game on Saturday, I'd spoken to Mesake Ndonge, and I asked him, what are they doing to prepare for the game against the Brumbies, as they know they don't really have a good track record of when it comes to away games. And this is what he had to say.
We'll enjoy today. We'll certainly review it on Monday. And it's not going to be easy against the Brumbies, because we defeated them here in Ba, so they're certainly looking for revenge. But the boys are going to get ready for that. This game is a turning point for us as a team, and we're certainly going to work harder.
That was Mesake Ndonge, Ndrua tight head prop. Not talking about the game coming up this weekend against the Brumbies. But another revelation over the weekend was last minute substitute that started the game after Hereti Hetet had to be pulled from the squad after getting injured in their warm-up training just before the game against the Force. Penaya Vakumbau had to step in and play at loose head prop. Now, here's the thing though. Penaya Vakumbau is not a prop. When just before the game he was asked, and he admitted to Jackson that he has only played one game at loose head prop. His natural playing position is at hooker, and he was able to last throughout the game, and he was even able to score a try for the Fijian Drua. Take a look at the fixtures this weekend. There's a couple of big games coming up this weekend. We've got, remember, the Drua take on the Brumbies. This is at 9:35 p.m. Saturday, and on Friday, the Blues take on the Highlanders. Now, the Highlanders haven't had they had a solid start this season, but then they somehow stalled, getting towards the middle of the season. They're taking each other on at 7:05 p.m. Friday. The Waratahs, now these guys take on Moana Pacifica, who got thumped last week by the Chiefs. At 9:35, the Chiefs meet the Hurricanes. This is a game that a lot of gang will be looking forward to. That is at 7:05 p.m. on Saturday. The Chiefs and the Hurricanes. And the last game this weekend is the Crusaders being hosted by the Force. And that game is at 11:55 p.m. Saturday. So remember, this Saturday, or should I say this weekend, we've got a lot of games that'll be going on. We've got your Hong Kong Sevens that'll be happening Friday, Saturday, and Saturday. On Saturday at 7 p.m., you've got the ex-Stromboulder FC taking on Auckland FC at 7 p.m. in Mba. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well, we've got our Super Rugby Pacific games that's happening. So you've definitely got something for everyone. You definitely got something for everyone. And just before we go, remember, the Hong Kong Sevens, this is the beginning of the World Championship Series. It's a series of 3 tournaments. That's the Hong Kong one, which is the first one. Then up comes Spain. And then after that is the France one in Bordeaux. Remember, this one is where they finally got quarterfinal matches. But at the end of this, it's only the top 8 that will continue into the series next season. The bottom 4, it doesn't matter where you were in the last series, the bottom 4 teams will drop to the second tier. Those are your games for this weekend. Hey, let me know who you'd love to see on the show with me here as we talk more about sports. Could be rugby, could be karate, could even be judo or fencing. Not fencing. We don't have fencing in Fiji. But let me know who would you love to see here with me on the show. And that's the show for this week on Fiji Village Play. I'm Alipate Narawa.